So this is the group assignment you people are going to do for Psych 292, that's consumer psychology. So the assignment has to do with selecting a brand. Like I said, I told you in class, you will select a brand that you're familiar with. So you will choose, each group should choose a brand that you're familiar with. It can be brand that produces goods, it can be the one that offers services. Ensure that you interact among yourself so that you don't choose, two groups will not choose one brand, you understand? So if one group is going with a particular brand, then another group should not choose the same brand. So you will do a short introduction about your brand. You will talk about the major products, the services to offer, the target consumers. Then you will talk about the major competitors. That is going to be in your introduction section. Of course, I'm going to give you the sections at the end of this video. So you identify a consumer psychology problem. Thus, it will be under your statement of the problem. And of course, you will identify one consumer psychology problem or two, or question, depending on how you want it, what you want to find out from that brand, depending on what you are looking out for. So identify a particular problem with that brand. And these problems can be, why do consumers prefer this brand over competitors? It can be, what are the influences, consumer intention to purchase the brand, as what are the influences, or what influences the consumers to choose this particular brand. What influences their intention to go for this brand. And you can look out for, how does advertising affect the consumer's perception of the brand. And you can also look out for, why do consumers remain loyal to that brand. Sometimes advertisement might help, but then why do they remain loyal? And then you look out for, you might want to also look out for price and how it influences their choice of the brand. You can also look out for social influences that affect their decision. Social influences here can be influence from friends, family, significant others, celebrities, and so on and so forth. So you also look out for particular consumer psychology theory. I explained some of them in class today. You look out for consumer psychology theory that you can use in your own work. So you will design a questionnaire and you administer it on 30 to 50 consumers of that brand. Your questionnaire should be 10 to 15 items. So if you identify, let's assume 3 problems from the previous slide, then you can have 15 questions, 5 questions for each of the problem you identify. Awareness, 5 questions, loyalty, 5 questions, and then price perception, 5 questions. So if you identify 4 problems, you should have 5 research questions, 5 questionnaires, 5 questions in each of the section. So 1 problem, 5 questions, 1 problem, 5 questions. And your response format should be strongly agree, undecided, disagree, and then strongly disagree. 5-point Likert is already there. Of course, the questionnaire will contain demographic information like the gender, age, socioeconomic status, and other things. It's not everything that you see here that must be included. You can include others that are not here. You can remove some that are here. So when you administer the questionnaire, you bring it back, you will analyze it, analyze the findings. and you present your results in frequency tables, percentages, pie or bar charts, mean, standard deviation, whichever one that you feel is okay for you to present your results. So after presenting your results, you will explain it, then you discuss your results. Then from that result, you will provide the recommendations. So here is the format. You're going to have introduction. In that introduction, you have background of the brand. This is where the first things I was telling you about the brand is. What is the brand all about? What services or products do they offer? What are the problems or questions you are investigating from that brand? They will all be in your introduction section. So you will identify objectives or questions. Remember, I said each of the question you identify, or each of the objective or problem you identify here, we have 5 questions in the questionnaire. So you can design a questionnaire. Maybe you have 3 objectives. So if you have 3 objectives, objective 1, 5 questions, objective 2, 5 questions, objective 3, 5 questions. So that's that about that. Then you look out for theory, consumer psychology theory. Under the second section, you explain how that theory, what the theory is all about. Then you explain how the theory is related to the problem you have identified. So the problem you have identified, is it about consumer perception? That will also serve as your objective. So you go to your methodology section. What is the design? What is the design of what you are carrying out? What is your target population? What is your sample size? Target population has to do with the people that you are administering the questionnaire to. So how many of them? That's the sample size. How are you going to sample them? How are you going to select them? That sampling method. So the questionnaire you design is also there. Then the results section will present the tables, charts, the analysis of their responses, the responses of your participants. How did you analyze it? So you look out for that and present it accordingly. So you also do a discussion of finding. The discussion is what you have found out and you presented in the results section. You can use psychology, consumer psychology theory, any of them that you identify to discuss in relation to what you have found. Then you draw conclusion. You can now provide recommendations. Remember to include references, because in the introduction and under consumer psychology theory, you definitely have citations, because you are not going to just do that in your head. So you have citations. So you include the references here, and then in your appendix section, you will put the questionnaire you have designed, and then maybe the results you calculated. Did you calculate it raw? Did you calculate it using SPSS? What did you use in analyzing your results? You present it there. Everything should not be more than 25 pages. Everything should not be more than 25 pages. Everything together, 25 pages maximum. It can be minimum of 15, but maximum should not be more than 25. Times New Roman as your font size 12. You type it in 1.5 line spacing or double line spacing, whichever one that is convenient for you. But whichever one you are doing, not less than 15 pages and not more than 25 pages. Everything, including references and the appendices. Thank you.